This is a picture of the human energy field taken with a gaseous discharge visualization camera, a descendant of Kirlian technology. Dr. Kirlian, an inventor and electrician, noticed an orange glow around his hand when he photographed it, and this led to he and his wife doing many experiments in the field of bioelectrography. In Santa Fe this past March 2009, we gathered for training in utilizing GDV technology, presented by its creator, Dr. Konstantin Korotkov, who invented the GDV to raise human consciousness.
It's not only instrument. As we've been discussing, it's knowledge to people about their own life. And that's very important. So from one hand, it's very practical. You can use it in practice with clients for practical everyday life. At the same time, it gives people who are with this new vision of their own life.
We are light beings. We are based on light. We are based on electrons and photons. Because in medicine, we mostly start on a molecular level. And you can find a lot of description of molecular process in the body. So genetic level, it's again, it's molecular level. But underlying this, those are quantum levels.
Scientists are beginning to acknowledge that we have 12 strands of DNA, rather than just 2. It's only that we haven't developed the capacity to see the other 10 strands yet. Dr. Sam Byrne, who also joined us in Santa Fe, focuses on changing the energy patterns through the eye.
The more light we can take in, the more light we can project out. And light is a food, and it affects our endocrine system, our nervous system, and it affects our chakras and our acupuncture meridians. And I think it's really critical today that we're able to boost our immune system as well as improve our detoxification system. And we breathe through our eyes as light inputs and outputs through our eyes. And it's another way to gain photons. Our retina is a light capturing system that then sends an electrical impulse to the brain. And so one of the things that I've realized over the years is that when we develop perceptual filters based on habits, conditioning, genetics, that it influences everything that we do. And so if we can help awaken some of those belief systems and perceptual patterns, that it actually helps us receive the light better and ultimately radiate the light better.
Here in Taos, we did a GDV study to see if water's energy and organization shifted during a prayer ceremony, and if a human benefited after drinking that water. Lenny Foster hosted the ceremony.
Thank you so much for coming, those of you that came to the opening last night and blessed the space, and thank you for attending this gathering.
We know from Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with water crystals that water can take on different forms, changing its properties from within. Prior to the ceremony, we suspended a drop of water in the GDV camera and captured data. We observed that most of the light and energy is predominantly to one side, and there's some disorganization in the center area. We then placed the bottle of water in the center of the prayer circle. At the conclusion of the prayer ceremony, we again took a droplet of the water and suspended it in the GDV camera and captured data. As you can see, the water is a lot more active and the energy is distributed evenly around the whole droplet. We then continued the study by measuring my energy field before and after drinking some of the prayed over water. And as you can see, my chakras are predominantly over to the physical side before the experiment, and they are within the normal green bandwidth. And after, they shift over into the left or emotional side, and my green heart chakra and my red root chakra go into the center, and all of the chakras are larger. Then also in my energy field, after, on the right, my energy field area is larger, and before, there are more spaces in it. Then in the diagram of my right and left brain hemisphere activity, you can see in the blue after line that the energy increased and smoothened out.
I can assure you, we make some pictures with just for the camera in this room, we would have been able to spot these orbs. Right. And it's a lot of, I would say, situations in there that we can't see because we are very limited in our visual. But with photo camera you can detect it.
So when we define vision, we need to define it in a much bigger description. Eyesight is seeing 20/20 on the eye chart, but vision is how the eyes and the brain and the body work together. And we actually start developing our eyes in utero at a very early time prenatally. We can actually see in ultrasonic photography that we have the little fetus with the brain, and we start to see these bulges growing out from the brain. And so we can say that the retina is brain tissue. So when we say that the retina is brain tissue, when we work with the eyes, we're really working with the extension of the brain. So the brain is the traffic director in our sensory motor development.
What we are now going to illustrate here is a simple study showing influence of sunlight on the human energy field, and precisely for 5 minutes. So, and the device, of course, that we used to measure this information was dear Dr. Konstantin Korotkov's device known as electrophoton capture, also called GDV. So it's a device that captures precise data by sending cascades of photons and electrons that are then received by the fingers. And what we are looking at here are series of fingers from the right-hand thumb to the little finger, left-hand thumb to the little finger, and then from here it captures data and chakras. So we can see that this is where the chakras were prior to the 5-minute sun bath. So here's the root chakra, there's the crown chakra, there's the heart center, and we can see that there is a slight arena of lack of synchronicity of information. After 5 minutes of the sun bath, here is what transpired in the entire chakra field. So you can see that there is a very clear alignment towards a resonant harmonic. So in essence we can say that simple practices, and we know that light of the sun gives you a very broad spectrum of the entire electromagnetic field, all the way from the micropulsations to cosmic waves. And this we know that pass through our system, and we are tremendous receptor sites, as we heard Dr. Korotkov speak during our seminar, and also Dr. Sam Byrne, who is a optometrist and who has been in this practice with the induction of light in the visible spectrum. And we see that this is very, very affirmative for further development of collective human wellness all across the entire world.